if you are an accountant and you are looking to get clients outside of your current network that pay you more and you enjoy working with more, this video is for you, because in this video I'm going to explain you exactly what the steps are that you need to take to get clients outside of your network. Because if you are an accountant, then you probably realize that if you have a couple clients already, or maybe you have a very big firm, but all of the new clients come from referrals. And if you want to change up your client portfolio and you want to help bigger businesses or different industries, but those people are not coming to you because you have a network that is just specific to a certain size of business or specific to a certain industry. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly how to break out of the referral growth and actually get more predictable growth outside of your network. So let's dive right in. So the very first thing that you need to do is pick a niche. And the reason you want to pick a niche, I made a video about this already, but just quickly summarize it. If you pick a niche, you can provide more value, you can talk their language, but it's also way easier to get someone's attention. So you can imagine that, let's say that you own a law firm, as an example, and you see an ad, hey, we help local businesses with their accounting and tax, and we will help you save money on your tax bill. Maybe the law firm will click at it and look at it. But if the law firm owner is scrolling on social media or YouTube or whatever, and they see an ad of a law firm owner in court, they directly see, hey, this is tailored to me. I am in court. I have clients that I am defending. It's way easier to get their attention, but also to talk their language, to have a resonation with them. If you, for example, work with law firms, in some states there is three-way reconciliation there, and there are a couple other things that need to be done in a certain specific way that the law firms want, right? Especially if they have different partners and everything. And if you talk about their specific pain points and things that they are experiencing, you can really get their attention, and it's just easier to find a client, provide more value. And again, if you provide more value, as I said in many of my other videos, if you provide more value, you can charge more, and people will also refer you more. And the thing is, you are watching this video because you want to get clients outside of your referrals and outside of your network. But if you have really good clients that are just exactly your ideal client, guess what? They are going to refer you more people like them. So that's number one. Pick a niche. When picking a niche with the clients that we work with, what they always say: if I'm picking a niche, I'm missing out on a big portion of the market, which in the theory is true, right? You say, okay, well, if I, for example, go with landscapers instead of just general contractors or construction businesses, if I go with those general contractors or construction businesses, the market is bigger and I will be able to make more money there. But this is not entirely correct, because let's say that there are 100,000 landscaping businesses, right, in the US, and you have 1% of that market. You have 1,000 clients that are paying you a minimum of 1,000 per month because you are specific to their niche and you can provide a lot of value to them. You have a seven-figure business right there, right? So going niche to just landscapers instead of general contractors, or law firms instead of professionals, or dentists instead of medical practices, that's really what you want to look for, because you can talk about their specific problems. It's easier to find them, and it will also just make your work easier, right? It's just more streamlined by the time. So that's what you want to keep in mind when picking a niche. I always recommend, if a niche is smaller than, let's say, 50,000 businesses, um, you can still go with it, but it's a little harder to scale at some point. But if you get paid a lot of money for these types of companies, of course, you can still scale. So pick a niche for those reasons. Don't go too broad. Make sure that the market is still around 50K. You can just ask ChatGPT and as a backup another AI to make sure that the information is correct. So, okay, that's step number one. It's important that you watch this whole video, because you can do all the steps over here, but if you do not do the final one, it still will not work. So step number 2 is client avatar. So every time that we work with a new client at Accounting Kings, for the people that are new, I have a company that works with accountants to get them more clients. If we work with a new accounting firm, we directly create a client avatar. And this is also because you can then actually have the better messaging, right? And make outreach, ads, content, and have conversations with them on Zoom or in person that are really specific to them. If you do not have a client avatar, you have not spent some time to dig into their frustrations, their fears, the things they are embarrassed about, their goals, their problems. If you do not truly understand your niche and create a client avatar, the person that you want to attract, it will be harder to actually have messaging that is resonating with them. Because let's stick with the landscaping example. There are landscaping businesses run by more older people or by younger people. There are landscaping businesses that are doing, let's say, 300,000 to 500,000 a year or $1 million a year. And a landscaping company that is run by a 29-year-old, which is doing $500,000 a year, this person will resonate with other messaging than a landscaping company which is run by a 50-year-old which is doing 1.5 million a year. And also the problems that they have will probably be different. A company that is just, let's say that the owner is more willing to sell the business at some point. Maybe you can talk about that in your messaging instead of just saying, oh, you want to grow because you are young and you want to hit the $1 million a year mark. So you want to create a client avatar and you want to put the following things in there. First of all, their goals, their frustrations, what they are embarrassed about, their specific pain points. And these can be pain points. I always use 5 pain points. Pain points about what your service can solve, but it can also be something that is indirect by your service. So if we stick with the landscaping company, sometimes cash flow is an issue. If they have a really big project or people are late with paying, maybe they have always have cash flow problems, right, which you can directly solve. But let's say that you don't offer any tax services, but you can still help with cleaning up the books, then it's something that you cannot directly solve, but you can contribute to that. So you want to write down the specific pain points. And by the way, a pain point can also be selling the company, right? You are, of course, not buying the company, but you can create better financials, increase margins, so that they can sell their business. So if you truly know your client avatar and the things that they are struggling with, maybe what they are embarrassed about, their goals, then you can tailor your messaging around your client avatar, and then again you can provide more value and charge more. And this is actually going to bring me to point number 3, messaging. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, but messaging is very, very important, because if you have the messaging right, the rest of your funnel will directly be overflooded with people that want to work with you. So with a client of mine, for example, he works with restaurants. And the moment when we had the messaging right, with combined with point number 4, so make sure you stick around. The moment we had these things right over here was the moment the campaign took off. So if you are working with just all types of different businesses and you say, I will increase your margins, sure, like a business owner is not going to say no to making more money, but it's also the question, is this in their top 5 priority list right now? Probably not, right? If you work with, let's stick with the landscaping example, landscapers, and you can really specifically talk about the problems that they are experiencing, maybe some like seasonality things or whatever, it's way easier to get their attention. And if you can then solve their problem, then they're going to pay you a lot of money to get their problem solved because it's so specific to them. Okay, so now you picked the niche, you created your client avatar, and you can create your client avatar using, for example, ChatGPT. It's getting better and better, and I'm really convinced that probably mid 2026 it will be even like triple or quadruple what it is now. But also just some critical thinking. If you have a couple of clients that you enjoy working with a lot right now, just maybe even ask them, hey, what are the things that you are struggling with right now? Have a conversation with them. And also just some critical thinking. Okay, well, I have a landscaping client right now. He actually asked me once about like job costing. You know what? I've never really done this, but I can probably do that for him. You learn it, maybe ask around with some other accountants that you know. Yeah, and then combined with the right messaging, you can now go to the niche, and yeah, and have a message that resonates with them. So if you have those three things, you go over here to another big game changer: offer and risk reversal. The moment with this restaurant client, we had the right messaging combined with a great offer and a risk reversal, the campaign really took off. So offer and risk reversal, it kind of goes hand in hand. You can just say a free consultation and we guarantee XYZ. We guarantee $30,000 in extra cash flow, or we guarantee that we will decrease your cash bill, or we guarantee that we will decrease your tax bill by XYZ. You have to be careful with this, by the way, because you cannot guarantee specific outcomes from directly with your work, because you cannot control everything. But just to give you a little hint, if you have an offer and you give advice, it's like an advisory thing, and just based on their finances. Let's say someone gives their tax returns and everything that you need to just say, okay, well, this is how I can advise you to save money. Then it's still legitimate that you can actually still use a guarantee and a risk reversal. Or you can just say, if you're not satisfied, I will give you your money back, right? Or if you work with us for 3 months and you have not seen an increase in profit margins, I will give you your money back. So if you now pick the niche, you have the avatar, you have a message that is resonating. So this is essentially, you have something that you can solve for a specific person, specific company, combined with a great offer, which is very low risk for them. So you really put some skin in the game. A lot of people will actually want to work with you. But then, of course, if you have a great offer with a risk reversal, it's not that you are actually going to get clients outside of your network. So that's why we actually go over here. Point number 5, pick your vehicle. This is ads and typically cold outreach. In theory, yes, you can go to networking events, or you can like post on social media. But the thing is, with networking events, it's still very much in person, and you can go to very niche networking events. Like if you want to work with landscapers and you go to a landscaping event, sure, you will find a lot of people in that niche, but it's not very scalable. And if you post content on YouTube like I'm doing right now, it is taking a long time before this will actually take off and will actually get you clients, right? So that's why I just said typically you go with ads and cold outreach. Now, this is also why picking a niche is very important, because I can imagine, and though like I've never really done cold outreach to landscaping businesses, just the ads, but I can imagine that cold email or LinkedIn is, I think especially LinkedIn. If you are going to work with landscaping companies and you are going to message them on LinkedIn, I don't think that they're very active on there. Maybe a couple are, but then after you've sent all like 1,000 messages to your entire market and there are no landscaping companies there anymore, then yeah, you need to go to a different platform, like a different vehicle. So you need to critically think, where is this market active? I have another client of mine, he works with e-com companies. And we have just found that Meta ads isn't really the ideal platform, because he wants to work with bigger companies, like bigger e-com businesses. And that cold email is better, because they are working a lot. Typically, they are younger guys that are not really active on there. They're just working. And they're not really scrolling on TikTok and everything, or Facebook and Instagram. So you really want to critically think, where is my ideal client avatar active? Because what we've actually seen, the niche itself companies that own an e-com store, they are on the platform, but the client avatar isn't. And that's why this is very important. Um, so now, if you have a specific niche, you can just, if you know people or you have clients already, ask them, okay, where are you active? Are you active on Facebook? Are you active on LinkedIn? You can run ads there, or you can do cold outreach. If you have a bigger budget, I recommend ads, even if you only have like 1,000 a month. But if you have a lot of time left, you can just do the cold outreach. It's a little bit more time consuming, but typically the ROI is a little higher. But it's just a question on, hey, I can spend a lot of time on messaging people and following up on people, but if you don't have the time, you spend the money and you buy back your time. So you pick your vehicle, and then last but absolutely not least, you can have all of this right. You can pick a really profitable niche. You can have a client avatar which is really, really close to reality, right? You have the exact pain points with the exact messaging, and you have an amazing offer, and you know how to actually reach them. You have found like kind of like the golden match, right? You've found the key to success. But if you're not going to implement number six, you're still not going to make money. And that's consistency, iterations, and volume. So the reason why this is so important is because I have seen so many accountants that I've been working with, and tax professionals, CFOs, and bookkeepers, that at some point they have something that is working, and then they say, okay, well, I have a process right now. I have a couple of clients from it. I don't really want to scale too fast, and it's not because they cannot still offer a good quality service, because that's always number one, but it's simply because they are not always consistent with growth, because they are used to ups and downs from the referrals, and they are not really used to hiring people and building new processes, and kind of like having this uncomfortable feeling when you are growing fast. Um, so you need to be consistent, you need to iterate and volume. So to start with consistency, if you run ads on Monday, turn them off on Tuesday and restart them on Wednesday, it's not going to work. If you send messages on Monday and then you forget it on Tuesday, it's not going to work, because you just need to be consistent. First of all, because if you as a person are inconsistent, there are also days that you are just simply going to miss because of that inconsistency. If you know yourself, I'm going to send messages every single day, or I'm always going to run ads with this budget, you are going to make it work as long as you are doing the iterations, which I will talk about next. But also from the platform perspective, if you are running ads, I do this for myself too. Sometimes my calendar is fully booked, and my team too. Then you can say, okay, well, if you're fully booked, nobody can book a meeting to talk with you. Why don't you turn off the ads? The reason that you do not want to do this is because the platforms don't like this. Same thing with the platforms on with cold outreach. They rather want you to send 20 messages a day for 5 days than 100 messages in one day, because that's what a bot will do, right? Or like a scammer or spammer. So consistency pays off, and then iterations. If you simply send messages and run ads for a whole year, but you are not iterating, you're wasting your time and money. So you need to at least, as a rule of thumb, if you are looking for business to business, KPI is a cost per appointment below $100, and that's kind of like a KPI. The ultimate KPI is just return on investment. But in terms of like the cost per appointment with ads, $100, right? You just need to keep making iterations until you get there. And in terms of data, you need to spend $100 on a specific ad, like a specific creative or copy, before you actually know, can I turn this off? And then I've had campaigns for clients of mine where the campaign was still getting data. It wasn't really like phenomenal. We changed one creative and it took off. So iterations are very important. Same thing with if you are sending cold email. If you send the same copy to your entire market and it doesn't work, I don't know what you're doing, but you're just wasting money and time. But if you send 200 emails, you book one appointment. Okay, now let's change the subject of the email, or let's change the first headline or some message, right? And you start tweaking things about the outreach, then only then combined with consistency you can actually get in KPI. And then volume. So if you've nailed all of this and you have nailed all of this, let's say that you have you created a process, a machine for you where you can put $1 in to get $2 out, right? Then the only thing you have to do is put in as much volume as possible. So for example, if you have a cold email campaign, or you're sending messages on Facebook and LinkedIn, and you are sending 50 messages a day, and you book one meeting from this, right? That's pretty good. You only have to send 50 and you get one good appointment. Start sending 100 to 200 messages every single day till you are full. You have something that's working, you follow the steps. Now it's all about volume. Same thing with ads. If you have an ad that is working really well, you just have to spend a lot of money on the same ad until it breaks and it doesn't work anymore because the whole market has seen it. So that's really the process that you need to follow, the steps that you need to take to get clients outside of your network in 2026. Now, if you are an accountant, you can maybe use some help with getting more and better clients, and there's a link in the description. You can click on to book a meeting with myself or my team to just get some free advice, and we can explain how we can help in a way where we do not profit until you do. If you have questions about this, let them know in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe so that you don't miss any other videos. Thanks.